So
Love Lane for You, is that her?
we're going live here. So, all right. So that's good. We have those questions, right?
Yes.
Okay, but we're gonna go live here. So, let's see. Let's raise this up a little bit. Okay. And we'll tilt this down a little bit. And then how are we going to let me back up a little bit? I don't know. We're working some stuff out, guys. So this video, this Instagram video, we're going to be on Instagram and YouTube. So I'll put, later on whenever I publish this, I'll put the seconds in there so you can skip forward. Okay. Okay. And so we are going to go live. And
I'll get you.
So, okay. Bear with us while we
gotta flip it. Let me flip it.
Oh, we do? Oh, that's right.
There we go.
Okay. We are working on 2 different tripods, guys. So, bear with us.
We're trying to make it work.
So, we'll back up a little bit if we need to, so that we're both in both screens. That works.
That works.
That works. All right, awesome.
Let me get the questions out.
Okay. So we are Dahlia Wagley, Get Sugar Certified, and Jamie Renee, Sugaring Source, and my personal business, YB Retreat. So this is also going to be saved and recorded on my YouTube channel, which is at YB Retreat, just because Sugaring Source isn't built up yet. So, yet is the operative word. So, some of the students that I have certified and trained in the last several years are reaching out, asking questions. Some people that I haven't trained, they want to know how to become a sugaring educator, freelance, brand neutral, or they're asking me, you know, my opinions on which companies, you know, that I think, in my opinion, would be good companies to partner up with. So we're here to kind of put this information out there. The reason why sugaring education is important, why you would want to spend some time doing a hands-on class, and also what it is to actually be freelance and brand neutral, compared to maybe the pros and cons of working for someone else. So we have some, I put a post up in Sugaring Source, and so there's some content and some material that we want to share and ask questions. So let's see. And hello to everybody who is joining us. If you have any kind of content that you would like to be shared about sugaring education, please do so if you have any questions. All right. So
we're reading them here.
Yeah, so my history is that I've been sugaring for 12 years. We've been sugaring for a little over a decade. I became an educator in 2012. I worked for Tamara's Sugar Company, a fabulous company, fabulous CEO, founder. Tammy Anderson is amazing. And I worked for Tammy for, both of us did. I worked for Tammy for 4 years, 2012 to 2016. But I had always had, in 2010, I really wanted there to be this directory for sugaring. And so once I launched the website in 2016, we decided it would be best if I stepped away from that, so that I could kind of be this brand neutral person. However, I personally have never had an interest in manufacturing sugar paste. So I had to figure out, how is this going to work? How am I going to educate but still have fabulous companies that will recognize my sugaring certification, and sell the paste to students? Because for a long time, a lot of sugaring companies have been exclusive with their brands, with their pastes. They haven't you know, they're going to not just verify that you're a licensed cosmetologist or esthetician. They're going to verify that you actually did take a sugaring, you know, a hands-on sugaring class. And for those who are watching, maybe you're waxing or you're a cosmetologist and you're saying, but it's in our scope of practice, why does it really matter? It matters because sugaring is very technical. You're using your hands, and it's like some people think it. I remember reading one time on a Facebook group, somebody said it's just a money making scheme. These sugaring classes, no, it's brand awareness. The people that are selling their sugar have a brand and a reputation to uphold, so they want to make sure that you know what you're doing. If they're selling their paste to just anybody that's not licensed, a not licensed professional, then how are we going to protect our reputation as professionals and our investments of our time and our money going to school to become a professional? And furthermore, if you want to do a Jessner's or a TCA pill, none of the skincare companies, PCA, Dermalogica, I don't know,
XYZ will
whatever,
sell it too.
yeah, they're not going to sell you this peel unless you have a certification in that peel, right? They'll sell you the cleansers and the moisturizers, but not the peels. So, and it's because people attach a good and a negative experience with brand. So a lot of these companies are exclusive, and they want to make sure that you know what you're doing before they sell you their products. So it is important, and it's not something I've also read people saying, "Oh, it's easy. Just come on in. And, I'm local to you. I'll teach you how to do it. It won't take long. It's super easy." You know the hardest part. What do you think the hardest part of a sugaring class? I mean, if you're a student, what do you think the hardest part is?
Oh, the hardest part of sugaring.
And we're kind of talking fast because we have to get back to our families.
I got mommy duties. No, hardest part of the sugaring. Man, it depends. I don't even know how to answer that one, Jake.
I think the hardest part of a sugaring class as a student is just getting the paste out of the tub and controlling the sugar paste. And it's just like
keeping your ball in the same shape.
Right. So it's just like it takes practice. And so it's not like, and even somebody that educates really local here reached out to me, and she's interested in becoming a sugaring educator, but she was like, she knew that she would want some mentorship and some one-on-one in teaching a class, because she said, I could teach anybody to mold and flick all day, but it's like, but the nuances, it's the analogies and the metaphors, and it's also organizing a class. Okay. So it's like, it's not like, and two, if you are a student looking to get sugar certified,
the ball and temperature control.
Yeah. And who is this? Love Lane. Yeah. Elena Barnes. Yeah. Thank you for your contribution. I forgot where I was going with this, but, anyway, what's next? I forgot. We got
sidetracked.
I got sidetracked because I'm so passionate about this.
We were just talking in general about, hosting a class, and it's not, everybody says, oh, I can put it together, and, I can get a couple of estheticians and pay $400, $500, whatever your price mark is. It's a lot harder than that. And a lot of times I can't express enough how many students call either me or Jamie or a colleague of us that's educating, and they've taken a class already. Mm-hmm. They've already taken a class, and they've already spent $400 or $500 with XYZ. It could be online, a platform. It could be a hands-on,
or they learned at their employer. Yeah. And now sugaring is growing leaps and bounds, and we've got a lot of chain places popping up, and the kind of education is like this really like big box mic box, education, and it's not. Anyway, it's really important that you have some hands-on education with sugaring. And now the differences, like there are pros and cons. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being an educator for a company. I mean, a lot of companies let you have basically free will over your class. You charge what you want for your class. You keep all the money from that, but then you have to do the work. You have to market that class, and you have to have a reputation behind you as well. So by the time that I became a brand neutral educator, I mean, I had been educating already for 4 years, but I will tell you, and this is coming up in another video if we have time for it, the skin games, going out there and competing in 2019, even though, well, I get to that, but it's like I competed because I wanted to represent for sugaring, and also to say, hey, I know what I'm doing. I know how to educate. I'm passionate about sugaring. And so at that point, being able to tell this to manufacturers, there's no reason or no doubt that they shouldn't accept my certification. So I think if you're going to be brand neutral, you have to be concerned about whether or not all of these manufacturers are going to accept your certification and give your students, sell your students their paste. Okay, there's some companies that if they don't recognize who you are, if you're not affiliated with a company, they're going to ask your student to send in videos demonstrating that they know that they're competent in the skill set before they sell paste.
And that may still happen when you give them a certificate from XYZ, manufacturing. It still happens today. You may go to a trade show and they won't even sell you sugar paste at a trade show without them putting on a glove and knowing that you know how to mold and flick or take it out for the. I mean, it doesn't happen as much as it did back in the day, but it still does happen. So if you're trying to become a brand neutral educator and be expecting your student to call you and be like, hey, this sugaring company won't sell me paste. They want a video. And I always tell them like, hey, send them a video. You know how to sugar. I taught you how to sugar. So, I can help you film, and it's not easy. And it just depends on what the sugar company is. So
Dahlia believes that pretty soon a lot of manufacturers are just not going to they're not going to care about a certification anymore, but there are still some exclusive sugaring companies that are going to require a certification. I mean, we want there to be a certification because it's upholding a particular standard with sugaring. I mean, anybody can go watch YouTube videos but this, like, the quality is not there. So I've had some people reach out and ask me, what is fair compensation? So if you're a contractor and you're working for a company, and I'm going to use the beautiful company Sweet and True because we've been seeing Sweet and True for the last several years now, really showing up and representing at trade shows. And they have like this huge platform that Sweet and True does a lot of marketing for their educators. And so I think that if you have a company, the pricing, from what I've seen, the pricing is consistent across the board. And one of the Sweet and True educators could correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like the cost of a class with Sweet and True is consistent across the board. So they have all their educators on their platform, and they are spending a lot of money for all these trade shows that they're going for. They're promoting your class. Trying to help you get your classes filled. So if you're an educator for Sweet and True, then it's like, if you're not getting full price of if you're being paid for that education, there should be a cost to Sweet and True. But there's an advantage and a benefit because, I don't know, Dolly and I are busy in our treatment rooms. And so I'm busy all the time. It takes time out of my day to go home and market and advertise for a sugaring class. So, and a sugaring class for me isn't complete unless I have a lot of hands-on models, which happen to be my clients. So I have to send an email blast out to my clients so I can get them to come and be my models.
And we have to have them be hairy because they may not be hairy.
So there's so the nuances and intricacies. And I mean, there's some people out there that are, they're badass at sugaring, but they just don't have, there's just educating and coming up with the analogies anyway and the metaphors and delivering that education
and the manual.
And you need a manual, you need something, and you need products. So if you're going to be brand neutral, you got to have something that you can give your student that they can repurchase, and so you have to figure that part out as well. So anyway,
I'm trying to read the Studio Buddies. Hold on, we got Sugaring Savvy with some fire flames.
Awesome.
First of all, writing a good manual.
Hey, on a list with Mystic Rose. Thanks for joining.
What type of paste is good for what area? Oops. That's true. That could be a nuance.
Yeah. So sugaring is very technical, and at the end of the day, when you learn it, you have to go. Well, we're in Texas, so you need to go through a whole year of the all 4 seasons because when the temperature changes, your pace changes. So it's really important to get that education. But if you want to become a brand neutral educator, you kind of, the things that you have to figure out are, where's your kits going to come from? How are you going to provide those kits to them? Are these manufacturers going to accept your certification? And also, the companies, we took time to establish our relationships with these sugaring companies. They knew who we were. They knew that we had put in the time educating for other companies. And so, um, relationships and rapport in this industry, I think, go a long way. And that's networking, which also can be done at the Skin Games. Again, coming up in another live video. So if you have been sugaring for so many years, then maybe you've been educating for another company, or you haven't been educating at all, but you'd like to be brand neutral. I think Skin Games is a pretty perfect platform for coming and representing and showing your skill set, for that purpose.
Yeah, I mean, if you are a sugarista now and interested in doing Skin Games, like Jamie said, it's an excellent platform. It's like Olympics for estheticians, and they've created a great event for us to showcase our skills. And we can't grow as a community in the sugaring or waxing, because there's waxing categories and skincare I mean, there's all kinds of categories for an esthetician. But if you are a sugarista, try to join the Skin Games, visit the website, and see, so you can come show how badass you really are, and just be like, come show your skills. We're ready for y'all.
If there's any educators that are on this live right now that have any kind of input, like, I'm just curious, I know there's some companies that they want at least 2 years experience before someone comes on board as an educator. I know sometimes education is state protected, like what do you call it, zone protected, so that it's not oversaturated, I guess. But anyway,
pretty sweet sugaring training with Tamara said I can answer them as well a little later. And then Caribbean Candies, she's popping in and out in between clients. So I know that a lot of us are working and are in the treatment room, so we may go back to the live and answer some of the questions or put them in the comments. So just come visit us again and check to see what the comments are, and then we can put them in there, because as well, most of us are still stuck in the treatment room.
And this, while most of the lives really aren't saved, I have another phone going on, and this is going to be saved live on YouTube. I'm live on YouTube /YB Retreat. So, and I will answer all these questions and also add the contributions that, if you're showing up now, manufacturers, educators, whatever you think would be important, an important contribution to this topic, I'd love to be able to put it onto in the comments section of the YouTube video. So
Caribbean Candy put, I feel continued support and mentorship beyond training day is essential. So her as an educator, that's what she looks for. The wham bam thank you ma'am mindset is insulting to a student that's starting sugaring.
Absolutely. So if you're a student or a prospective sugaring student wanting to get sugaring education, ask yourself, first of all, when you're comparing apples to oranges, and this is a money thing, and you're wondering, why is this class so expensive? Or you're looking at one class and it doesn't seem like a lot and the other one does. Look, take the total amount of hours, divide it up, divide the amount of the class by the total amount of hours, so you get your per hour cost. Are there models included? Is your kit included, or is that an extra cost? Those are important things to have. And how much hands-on are you going to get? Is this going to be a class of 30 students and you all work on each other for a couple of hours, or is this going to be kind of more of a consolidated 2 1-on-1, 2 4 students per class? Because if you've got one educator for 4 students, there's a lot more attention on that, right?
Could you handle 30 students?
It doesn't. That's another question.
30 students.
If you're an educator,
you're an educator. Could you handle students?
When you go into, it's like when we go to the beauty schools and there's a a classroom full of people, getting sugar paste out, having 15 to 20 students melting down with sugaring and being frustrated. Is that really I don't personally like to do that, because I don't want them to get discouraged and not want to take a sugaring class. But everybody has their own thing that they like to do. But the educators that are out there teaching sugaring, or any continuing education class for that matter, it's like, why are they passionate about the subject? Do they really want to see other people out there just as great, or are they just doing it for money? I think that whenever you are getting, if you're signed up with a manufacturer, I think that there's some sort of a guarantee, and you can have confidence that that manufacturer, there's a brand there, so they're going to be committed to making sure that you get the right education from one of their educators.
And most brands will have a director of education. So most brands will have somebody over the educators. And so that if you had a problem with educator XYZ, you could reach out to somebody else.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's always, and if you're thinking about becoming a brand neutral educator, you got to do the math, girlies, because sometimes we do it for love. and Jamie does it more for love sometimes. And because you may make more money in the treatment room than you would teaching a class.
That's why when people have said, and it's like, oh, that's just a money-making scheme, it's like,
not.
It's not, because it's like, we're rockstar sugarists, and I can say that with confidence. But, I mean, I do make more money in the treatment room, but I have a passion for for
educating.
I have a passion for educating. and I do, there's some sort of a thrill with seeing these light bulb moments, and I think it's just knowing what I know from how long it took me. It took me 9 months to get full 100% confidence, but I did get it. And so anyhow, I think that I think we've kind of covered everything on education, like why you want to have a sugaring certification. And I think as far as like online, I think that you can learn. There's a lot of different ways that we learn. I think you can learn online, but I still think that we should find, you know what? We can learn from everybody. As an educator, I just want to say that you're not just going to learn from one person. And I always teach my students, you're not just going to learn from me. You're going to see Kyle from Tamara Sugar. She may teach one of the techniques or the topics a different way, right. Or Sweet and True. But it doesn't mean that